know if I'm gay? And this question, what I want to say first of all is that this question comes from men and women. And they say, well, how do I know if I'm gay, or how do I know if I'm lesbian if I've never had sex with the same gender? And first and foremost, I want to say this. Just because you've had sex with the same gender does not mean that you're gay or lesbian. Hello. Let's just, don't get it twisted. Let's just get that cleared up right now, folks. Just because you have had sexual intimacy or sexual relations or sexual whatever with the same gender, it does not mean that you're gay or lesbian. Okay? So when does it mean that you're gay or lesbian? Okay, this is my opinion. I feel like you are gay when you come to understand yourself as gay, you have these feelings for the same gender, and last but most important, what makes you gay is that you self-identify as gay. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you don't self-identify as gay, then you're not gay. So you think about it. Because a lot of times people say, oh, men on the down low, you know, they're gay. We don't have the ability to define people's sexual orientation. And again, just because somebody has had sex with the same gender does not mean that they're gay. I believe that you are gay when you self-identify as gay. You wake up a day or after many days, and it should be after many days, of having thought about, wow, is this, you know, I'm feeling this. I think this is me. And okay, I guess I am gay. Because this feeling isn't going away. This is truly who I am. And I think for me, I just want people to be more grounded in who they are and their sexual orientation before they start self-identifying really anyways, or even saying that they're gay or lesbian, or even thinking that they're gay and lesbian. I think, you know, our sexualities need to be fluid, meaning that we need to be able to embrace that we're having all these different kind of unique experiences, and we're having all these different and unique kind of feelings. And then once we've maybe had, you know, some sexual interactions and some real solid relationships, then we can say, oh, okay, I guess I'm gay, you know. I guess, okay. You know, I think for me, like, I can have a relationship with a man, and it feels good, and I feel all right. And I feel like I have a relationship with a woman, and it feels good, and it feels all right. And I think for me, I'm really attracted more to people's spirits. And that your gender really is irrespective to me, because I can function sexually with either or. And I do believe that to be true for a lot of different people. And maybe that's true for men on the down low. They just, you know, they could sexually interact with male or females. And, you know, some of that could be just survival. Because, you know, look, I think sex is an important part of my life. It's like brushing my teeth, you know. I want it on a daily basis. But I'm just saying, like, you know, hey, some people just don't want to live without it. And they will function sexually in whatever circumstances that they're in. But, again, I feel like we don't have the power to define people's sexual orientation. They have the power to identify, to announce to the world what their sexual orientation is, if they decide to do it. And if they don't, then it's not our business to say what they are. You know, even though we can say, oh, I know he's been with every man up and down the street. It don't matter. It don't matter. Until that person tells you they're gay, they're not gay. And it's not up to us to say what they are. Because you don't really know what's going on behind closed door. They could be with every man up and down the street, and it could be just a conversation. You don't know. You really don't know. So, and also I just want to tell people, like, look, I mean, look, you don't really have to define all that. I mean, like, if you're, like, for instance, you know, I get a lot of letters from women who, you know, really haven't had sex, which is hard for me to believe because I like sex so much. So anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, what I want to say is this. You know, I get these letters from women, and, you know, and men too, who haven't had sex, and they know they have these feelings, and they think, oh my gosh, you know, I'm attracted to the same gender, and, but I don't know what to do, and I don't know if I'm really gay or lesbian. And what I want to say is this. I think embrace that you're having these feelings, you know, kind of assess them, get to know if it's something that's just happening for a moment or if it's something that's continuing to happen. And then I think at the same time, allow yourself to have some space. You know, I say this to even young people, like, don't feel like the first person you get with is the person you got to stay with for the rest of your life. I mean, you may need to have a couple different kinds of interaction in order to really define what your sexual orientation is. You know, for instance, you know, when I was straight, I thought I was straight because that's what I was socially conditioned to do. However, when I had sexual intimacy with a woman, I was like, oh, I'm feeling this too. But I remember succinctly, after I had gotten out of my long-term, you know, it wasn't really a long-term, but, you know, I mean, fairly long-term lesbian relationship, that when I was single again, I was like, oh, I'm kind of feeling men. And because when I was in my relationship with a woman, I just knew I was a lesbian. I was like, oh my God, I'm a lesbian. That's all I ever am. And that's all I ever will be. I mean, I don't know. I felt like, oh, yes, I am. But when I got out of the relationship, I realized, oh, I am attracted to men and I'm attracted to women. And oh, okay, so, oh, maybe I'm not just a lesbian, you know, and then I thought about, you know, I have children and I very much love their fathers. And so, and those relationships were amazing to me, you know, just as, impactful in my life as the relationships that I've had with women. And so I really just kind of had to come to some reconciliation and just say, look, you know, this is just who you are. It looks like your sexuality is a little bit fluid. You could get with a man, you can get with a woman. And I think also too that I don't want people to feel like, oh, okay, so you're feeling like you're having feelings for the same gender and you go out and you have sex. Don't think that because that sex was bad that you're not necessarily gay. And don't necessarily think that because the sex was bad that you're necessarily straight. It could be you just had a bad sexual experience. And trust me, straight, gay, whatever, bad sexual experiences are pretty prevalent. They're pretty regular and pretty normal. So don't let that be the defining factor. Just really, again, reassess. If the sex was bad, just call it what it is. Just call a spade a spade. Look, that was some janky old sex, and guess what? I know there's better out there. And part of it is, you know, a lot of times we get into sex without really having feelings and emotions, and, you know, and then we just kind of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and then we're like, oh my God, it's bad. And I think sometimes we need to put work into sex to make it good, because each person is unique and individual, and I believe that sex can get better over time, which is another whole nother podcast, and so I'm not going to go into that. However, I just want people to say, look, you don't really need to define whether or not you're gay right now. I think if you're feeling it, then you need to either decide whether or not you're going to explore it and consider having a sexual interaction or a sexual relationship with the same gender. And then allow yourself the process of growing and evolving in the gay community and in your awareness of who and what you are in terms of your sexual orientation. And just feel like, you know what, if you're a woman and let's say you're like, you know, you're feeling it for women, then, you know, get around some other women that like women and start to get to know them and then figure out, you know, maybe you'll find a woman that you're really attracted to, you know, think about if she's single and make sure she's single because lesbians are not single. Anyways, I'm just kidding. No, I'm really not. Anyways, but, and maybe you could have sex with her because she could be poly and so whatever. Anyways, that's not the point. What I'm saying is, let's say you're a woman and you're interested in women, you know, get around women, get to know women. Maybe you find somebody you're attracted to, date them, you know, at some point in time, usually lesbians very quickly, which is not my advice, by the way. You should take your time before you have sex, but you know, you'll end up having probably some sexual, some sex. When I'm talking about sexual, you'll probably end up having some sex. And in that experience, you'll begin to kind of grow and understand, well, yeah. Or you'll be like, nada, no, not happening no more. So, you know, I mean, just be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to figure it out in time. And there's no real need to define anything. You know, I tell people that you're not gay until you say you're gay. You ain't got to say you're gay. And again, like I said in the other question, just because you've had sex with the same gender don't mean nothing. It just means you had that kind of sexual experience, and that experience does not define you. Okay? Now that's my spiritual lesson for today. So until next time, just know that you are perfect, whole, and complete. Peace and much love, family, and take care. See you next time.